World, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig.
Clint Eastwood Jr., born May 31, 1930, is an American film actor, director, producer, and composer. After achieving success in the Western TV series Rawhide, he rose to international fame with his role as the man with no name in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy of spaghetti westerns during the mid-1960s and as antihero cop Harry Callahan in the 5 Dirty Harry films throughout the 1970s and 1980s. These roles, among others, have made Eastwood an enduring cultural icon of masculinity. Elected in 1986, Eastwood served for 2 years as the mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California. Eastwood's accolades include 4 Academy Awards, 4 Golden Globe Awards, 3 César Awards, and an AFI Life Achievement Award. In 2000, he received the Italian Venice Film Festival's Golden Lion Award, honoring his lifetime achievements. Bestowed 2 of France's highest civilian honors, he received the Commander of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in 1994, and the Legion of Honor Medal in 2007. Clint Eastwood was born in 1930. My childhood grew up during World War II and I thought it was the war that ended all wars. But then, at the age of 19, I was called up again to prepare for the Korean War, then the Vietnam War. I wonder if the war will ever stop. The answer is no. So, every time we have a conflict, it's worth taking some time to think before jumping into a fight, the director expressed. According to Patrick McGilligan, a high school friend of Clint Eastwood, the filmmaker avoided enlisting in the army in North Korea by favoring the daughter of a possible officer at the barracks, after enlisting. Thanks to that, the son of an iron and steel worker was appointed as an army swimming pool guard. Around the same time, Universal's crew came to film at the barracks where Clint Eastwood was stationed. An assistant director kept an eye on the 1.93 meters tall soldier and kidnapped him for a new film project. Clint Eastwood was sent to acting school and signed contracts for small films. After his debut film in 1955, the young actor stuck with television for 5 years. Iconic actor of the 1960s to 1970s. In the 1960s, North American cinema was dominated by Italian westerns. In 1963, invited by famous Western filmmaker Sergio Leone to play the role in A Fistful of Dollars, Eastwood demanded an additional Mercedes in addition to the fee of $15,000. I decided to act in this movie because I was bored with the role of the white hat hero, the perfect handsome man, who only knew how to kiss old women, cuddle children and be kind to everyone. It's time to turn into a character that reflects the hero, he said about the fateful role. After hitting theaters, A Fistful of Dollars became a hit, today considered a classic Western film. After A Fistful of Dollars, 1963, the director continued to make 2 famous sequels, A Few More Dollars, 1965, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, 1966. The trilogy marked Clint Eastwood as the star of the decade with an image of an 18th-century American gunman in a dusty coat, smoking cigars, breaking all the rules, following his conscience. Told, to rob the rich alone, to find justice for the weak. I want to be the most wordless, using my attitude and gestures to create the character's personality, the actor shared, which later turned into a unique style. With great remuneration from the A Fistful of Dollars trilogy, the actor had a vision to set up his own film studio to gradually transition to directing. At the same time, the famous star also accepted the lead role in many trendy movies and also turned down many other roles. He once refused to be Agent 007 because he thought the role should be played by a British star. In the 1970s, Eastwood became an iconic character again through the 5-part action series Dirty Harry. In the film, Eastwood transforms into Dirty Harry, a skilled .44 Magnum shooting police detective who overcame all difficulties, not from dirty tricks to kill a serial killer. Film historian Eric Lichtenfeld asserted that this role established the first true character model for action films. Dirty Harry earned $22 million at the box office, equivalent to $128 million in 2015, and is considered to have inspired 2 real-life kidnapping crimes, similar to the movie situation. The top director of Western movies. Being a popular actor in the 1960s and 1970s wasn't enough. The action star with captivating eyes satisfied his directorial ambitions when he started making films he starred in. The film Sudden Impact, Part 4 of Dirty Harry, directed by him in 1983, is considered the darkest and most violent work in this series. The line "Go ahead, make your day" in the film was used many times by Ronald Reagan in his presidential campaign speech. In the 1980s, a series of fantasy blockbuster projects began to appear and the Western film genre gradually died out. Clint Eastwood honed his directing skills, hiding himself waiting for the day to flourish. In 1992, with the genre dying, Clint Eastwood embarked on a project that he was both director and main star, Unforgiven. The film tells the story of a cowboy who has killed countless people tormented by the death of his wife, decides to take revenge on 3 other cowboys because they have sex without paying, and then slit the prostitute's vagina. Unforgiven fully portrays the typical American character of the era when white people colonized in the harsh western border of the 18th and 19th centuries. With undeniable value, the film won the Oscar Best Feature Film Excellent and Best Director for Clint Eastwood in 1995. With a sharp protagonist, the film was a spectacular hit at the box office. As Eastwood revealed later, the screenplay had been written since 1976, but he waited until he was old enough to play the lead role. The film is like a bunch of fireworks honoring his own youth and ups and downs with the American film industry. Set in the fanciful setting of the late 19th century West, Unforgiven is Clint Eastwood's most distinctive, most satisfying film. Vincent Canby shared about the director's performance in the lead role. "This is the most classic Western from John Ford's 1956 The Searchers," said the Los Angeles Times. Researcher Edward Gallifant commented on Clint Eastwood's 3 decades of filmmaking from 1970 to 1990. The roles Eastwood played, the films he directed, were inseparable from the essence of American culture for a quarter of a century. The past century, the essence of which is a mixture of fantasy and reality. Clint Eastwood reflects on the genre of films that helped him grow, Western movies. An era has passed with the settlers, the lone people doing their own thing, not bringing social benefits. They are always associated with the element of revenge. The character is only interested in revenge, never resorting to the police. A kind of Robin Hood. It is a battle of the males. It is the romantic myth of the time when man was alone on a horse in a desert that had not been trespassed by anyone. This contemplation of Clint Eastwood is sympathized with many Asian swordsman movie viewers. After Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood conquered projects of all genres. In the late 1990s, he and Meryl Streep played sweet roles in the Love adaptation of Bridges in Madison County, and the film was considered better than the original book. In the early 2000s, the talented filmmaker both directed and wrote the soundtrack for the crime drama Mystic River, revolving around the themes of murder, child sexual abuse, and teenage memories. The film brought Sean Penn the Best Actor award from the American Academy of Sciences. In the late 2000s, the director re-starred in the work Gran Torino, Old Ginger, revolving around an old white man helping a yellow community he initially discriminated against. The most prominent of Clint Eastwood's 2000s works is $1 Million Baby. The film about a female boxer conquering the peak of boxing brought the Oscars Best Picture, Best Director and Best Actress for Hilary Swank. Clint is a true artist in every way. Although he stood at the top of glory and made dozens of works of a lifetime, he always made us feel comfortable and treated us equally on set. actor Tim Robbins said of the director intimately. In 2014, 84 years old, the filmmaker called The Old Man reappeared with American Sniper. As of February 2, this work became the highest-grossing war film of all time in North America with a figure of up to $250 million. The film also brought The Godfather back to the Oscars. While HBO and Cinemax channels regularly show old Clint Eastwood movies, he still doesn't stop acting and making new movies. People ask me why I am still working on this stage. I do it because there's always something new to tell. And as long as someone wants to hear my story, Clint said. The living monument of the American film industry is also a record killer. According to biographers, Eastwood had at least 20 affairs, including dozens of prominent figures. The people he loved include the stars Catherine Deneuve, Jill Banner, Inger Stevens, Jamie Rose, swimmer Anita Loest, literary researcher Megan Rose. He was married at the age of 23 and then left his wife. A decade later, during the divorce proceedings, the actor fell in love and had his first child with a dancer. He later moved back in with his ex-wife and had 2 children. In the 1970s, the actor loved the star Sandra Locke, who was on paper the wife of openly gay star Gordon Anderson. Clint Eastwood went out with Locke, got her pregnant twice and then instigated her to have an abortion, while providing financial support for her lover's husband. Still around this time, he secretly fell in love with another man and had 2 children. In 1996, after being abandoned, Sandra Locke wrote a biography about 10 years in love with Clint Eastwood, in which he said, "He was a very gentle man when he loved, but he did not give up tricks to leave his lover, ready willing to do anything to destroy everything that stands in the way." In 2013, the filmmaker divorced his wife of 1996 Diana Eastwood, and has since been living with female basketball player Erica Tomlinson Fisher, 41 years old. According to People would not be surprised if the filmmaker, who had 8 children with 6 different women, one day announced the adoption of an illegitimate child. Eastwood is an avid golfer and owns the Tahama Golf Club. He is an investor in the world-renowned Pebble Beach golf links west of Carmel and donates his time to charitable causes at major tournaments. One of the richest actors with a net worth of Will Smith is estimated at $375 million. He owns several major properties in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Tiburon and Pebble Beach. His car collection: Austin Healey 100M, 1955, Cadillac Eldorado Jaguar XK 150 Roadster, 1960, Ferrari 275 GTB, 1966, Gran Torino Sport, 1972, Pontiac Special Edition Trans Am, 1977, Ferrari 308 GTB, 1978, Fiat 500e, 2014. This famous director also owns an Aerospace Star helicopter.